on a dream vacation. Witness an unspeakable evil.
I sure think they killed her. Frank, they've seen us.
And get trapped in an unbelievable nightmare. Peter Fonda and Warren Oates race with the devil. When you race with the devil, you'd better run for your life. Race with the Devil, rated PG.
You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
Now we got drinks? Oh, they free.
It all sounds like some bad movie.
Hey there. There you are.
Motherfucker.
Tired of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.
I you know what? When you challenged me to this film that we're talking about today, it did not register exactly what the challenge was. And I'll explain to you what I mean.
Oh, really?
Pardon me. Welcome everyone to Moviesucktastic. This is Scott, and the person not very loud right now is Joey.
Hi.
And we're reviewing Joey's challenge to me. We're challenging year by year from beginning at our births, and we're currently in 1975, and we are reviewing Race with the Devil.
Now, let me ask you a quick question. Why do you have Rosemary's Baby as your wallpaper behind you?
I'm glad you asked, Joey. There's a distinct reason why Rosemary's Baby is behind me.
Okay.
It's because this is just another fucking Satanist film.
Yeah, it is.
And if you know me, there's one type of film that I really can't stand. And it didn't really sink in until the second act. It was like, oh, wait a minute. This is actually a Satan worshiper film. This is the witches. This is every fucking film like Rosemary's Babies, where we've got an insane cult with this impossibly complex plan that makes no fucking sense whatsoever.
I just don't understand why they.
I
just don't understand why they didn't just, slit their tires way back in the first act.
Let's start at the beginning and go into what the film is and explain it before we start complaining about that, because that's going to be the highlight. Believe me.
Yeah, and what's interesting is I'll bring it up now because it really has nothing to do with the movie, other than the fact that Warren Oates, and I can't even believe when I read this, was only 46 years old when he made this movie.
Yeah, right. Oh, he's always.
I mean, I'm going to be 45 next month. And Warren Oates, let me tell you, there's some road miles on that guy. Whew, wow.
He's
I mean, man, I know. He died of a heart attack, right? He just looks like, if you could describe what a heart attack looks like, Warren Oates is it. He just looks like a heart attack. Like his facial expressions and everything when he played Sergeant Hulka in Stripes. I mean, just like he is, yeah.
Now, see, here's the thing. When we were watching, I made Holly watch this with me.
Oh, yeah.
And she asked me, because I was saying, Warren Oates. That's Warren Oates. And she's like, who the hell's Warren Oates? What do I know him from? So I had to explain that I know him from Bring Me Ahead of Alfredo Garcia, the fucking, God damn it. The Wild Bunch.
Wild Bunch. He was also in another movie with Peter Fonda as well.
But and I was like, I know him from these films, but you'll know him as Sergeant Hulka from Stripes. Let's just simplify that.
And she probably didn't know him immediately until she saw his face.
Oh, I don't think he looks the same as Sergeant Hulka. I was actually surprised by that because I was looking up to find the name of a film for her, and I was like, all right, I know what I know him from. Let me find out where you know him from. I was like, holy shit!
I mean, honestly, he looked like he might have actually trimmed down a little bit for Stripes, and he had super short hair, and he still died of a heart attack the following year. Like, I mean, it just, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a great cast, and Loretta Swit, come on.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
How do you not go for Margaret Houlihan? And they put him, and in this movie, she's with a guy called Frank. It's like, aw, can't you let her live that down? I mean, not like she's taking a step up in this fucking piece of shit, but.
Well, it's true. So the film starts out with, if I remember correctly, because I watched the first half of this like a month ago, like before we. I know.
Last night, baby. It's still fresh in my mind.
Yeah, no, I watched the first part of this like a month ago, like maybe even a little longer. It was right before we started doing our Oscar episodes. I was actually watching the film on my PC while I was doing other things, and then I didn't get to finish it.
Because we're dedicated to the show. That's why.
I only had maybe 45 minutes left. And I ended up watching the other 45 minutes today. So, if I remember correctly, the film opens up with all of them, or Warren Oates' character. He owns a bike shop, motorcycles, like dirt bikes kind of thing.
Yeah, we're introduced through the male characters. Warren Oates owns or runs, a garage. Supply shop for motorcycles, it seems like, or car parts, etc.
Yeah, and Peter Fonda's character tests out the motorbikes, and they're working on a specific one, and they're testing it out. And of course, they're overworked. They're overworked, and they want to go on a vacation. And it opens up with that, and then them heading out on a vacation in a brand new RV that Warren Oates just purchased.
Microwave.
It's a microwave oven. So they're actually leaving from Texas, and they're going to Colorado. And the reason I challenged this film to Scott was because he was going, not the exact trip, but from the exact state to state. He was going on a getaway where he was going from Texas to Colorado.
I'm not sure what their departing location is, but it's almost the exact route that we take.
Yeah.
We usually, if we don't want to drive one leg, we'll stop in Amarillo for the night.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's where they were trying to get to in the third act of this film. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting, Amarillo.
Well, yeah, that's because I've actually crafted. I for those who don't know, I am a poet, as well as a loud, irritating movie
boisterous
voice person. And I composed in my head like an hour ago a haiku describing this film.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
I have to write it down because I composed it in my head an hour ago.
Oh.
I didn't jot it down, but I have one, and we'll hear it before the end of the show.
Oh, very nice. Very, very nice.
But we're introduced to these two characters through that way, and then the RV, and we meet their wives at the RV. And that is the beginning of the road trip of this film. Right.
So they're on the road trip, and they're pretty much, they don't need to stay at a hotel. The whole reason they bought the RV is so that they didn't have to go stay at a hotel. They can just take the RV. They can go park somewhere, sleep in the RV, just everything they need. They're talking about going to dinner, and they're like, what do we need to do that for? We have this, microwave oven. You can put your bird in here and cook it and be ready to go and yada yada yada. So they want to kind of live it up with this RV, and So they're parked for the night, and they're all having a great time. And Peter Fonda's character, Frank, and Roger, and Warren Oates' character Frank, they're getting drunk outside.
Can we just call them Warren and Peter? Because the character names mean nothing at this point.
It means zero.
I would just it'd probably be less confusing because we'll probably jump back and forth.
If I just say Peter Fonda and Warren Oates, sure, you're right.
Yeah, Warren and Peter.
So they're outside, they're getting drunk, they're just having a good time. It's cold out because you see they're wearing jackets and whatnot, and they just start to go for a bit of a walk. They notice something in the distance. They have a pair of binoculars. They check it out, and at first they think it's an orgy because there's a bunch of people around a big raging fire. Yes.
You know what? No, you complete it, and then I'll start where this film starts annoying the shit out of me.
Okay.
Go ahead. You finish the scene.
So they see this big, huge bonfire. They see a bunch of people in black cloaks, and they hear kind of chanting in the distance. And at first they're like, "Oh, it's an orgy," because they bring out this girl, and she's scantily clad. Well, not scantily clad, but she's wearing just kind of like a cloth white thing. And then they take that off, and she is naked, except that this film is rated PG. So everything is blurred out. And I thought that was lame. I really did.
Holly brought that up. She's like, why is that blurred out? So it's probably because they realized direct-to-TV was in the equation for this. Or at least...
Well, no, it did go theatrical, and not only did it go theatrical, but it cost $1.7 million.
But they were also going to have to plan on being. This is 1975. After the movies, it's either TV or nothing.
Well, yeah, they intended for this to be PG always. So that's why it's blurred out. So then they show, they kind of lay her down, kill her for the sacrifice, and they see that they make too much noise as they're out there because now they're freaking out. And now that in the distance, they see that they're there.
They didn't make too much noise.
What are you talking about? They're moving around. They're moving around too much.
Yeah, but they didn't make too much noise.
Are you sure?
Yes, because I remember what. Here's the setup. Here's my version of the setup.
Okay.
They're out drinking, and then they pulled right behind them, tree on fire.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like a tree right out of casting. This is where you go to perform witchcraft. This tree, and they go to look. It's like, oh, there's a lot of people there in their robes. So they get up, they're interested, and they're peeking. It's like, oh, now there's nudity. Yeah, now we're really having fun. And then, oh, they're killing people. Now it's not so much fun. Maybe we should get the fuck out of here. And as they're debating that, what alerts the Satanists, the Satan worshippers, the witch cult, is the one wife from the camper screams, hey, what are you guys doing out there?
Oh,
back here. Yeah. And they're like shut the fuck up, there's a sacrifice out here, because no one thought to go back and warn them. Women are back there. Well, again, maybe
so my memory wasn't the greatest, so they did make too much noise, but it wasn't them.
It wasn't the wife came out and made too much noise because they did not think ahead to alert them that now's quiet time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not going to go into the witchcraft thing, so we can keep moving.
No. So the girl is sacrificed, and then all that hilarity ensues. So, but then they get made. So they notice that they are now coming towards their RV, so they hop back in it, and they start to drive away. They hightail it out of there, and all of these Satanists, they are following them big time, and they are they're following them on foot. They're following them in a car. They go through like some riverbank area, and of course, because the RV is so big, it gets stuck on a rock, and then they're trying to create a fulcrum to leave the tire. Well, this is a whole big mess.
And there's a lot of formula to this. The film's going to be a lot of what happens here is, oh, there's Satanists. We should run. Okay, we're running now. So what's our next location? Well, in this case, it's the nearest sheriff's office.
Right.
And the minute they start talking to this guy, I'm like, oh, this is it. That's when the light bulb went off. This isn't just, oh, they walked in the Satanists. This is one of those.
Yeah, everybody's involved.
Everybody's in on it. So the sheriff's talking, and then and then they take that long. It's like, let's go. We have to go back to the crime scene right
Probably a dead dog they killed.
Yeah.
It looked like a naked white lady to me.
And the only credit I'll give this film is that Peter Fonda nails them immediately. Right after they're done with the cops, they're back. When they get the RV, the first thing he said is, "They're fucking in on this."
Right, and he's like, "They took us. We didn't tell them where to go. They took us right there."
Yeah, that's it. They're trying to. Is it obvious to me? So that's what saved me for this film. It's like, all right, at least someone's smarter than the average Satan cult movie.
Right, exactly.
We're already out of the territory of Rosemary's Baby, and we're already reached a higher level than that shit.
Yeah. Well,
now we don't get too higher, but
right before that scene, they found a note in the RV, and it basically told them that we're coming for you, and whatever you do, evil will catch up with you, or some bullshit like that. Had some hieroglyphic or symbols. So the girls immediately go, "We're going to go to a library." And
hey, they didn't have smartphones back then.
No, I know that, but what I found funny is they go to the librarian, and they want to take out these 2 books that they found, and she's like, "Well, you can't take these out. These are reference books. These don't go out." I find that funnier than the normal person should, just based on what I do for a living.
All right, library guy.
I just found it funny, but
it's true.
It is true. Books like that usually aren't in reference, witchcraft. But I guess in that town it is, because everyone's in on it. It's like, when the local den mothers want to come in and, it's like brush up on their witchcraft, they just go to the local library. They just go to the reference section.
And if this cult is so widespread as it appears to be, why would they allow the library to carry these books?
Yeah, exactly.
No. There's no such thing as witchcraft.
How come when they visited the mechanic, he just didn't I don't know. There's so many opportunities for them to get taken right then and there.
We're gonna touch on that.
But yeah, and then Peter Fonda's like, "Listen, the town of Amarillo is it's a big town. We're going to go there. We're going to go to that sheriff's department, big city." And he's like, "I took a blood sample myself." You know?
That's how much I was on Peter's side at that point. It's like, man, this guy's on top of it. He knows the deal. Get past the locals. Get some say. Don't challenge him on it.
Right.
Just say, okay, thank you. It's like he's playing the book right. Thank you, Peter. I'm so, at least I don't hate him.
So he says, "We're going to go to the next big city, and we're going to take this blood sample I took, and we're going to see what they say. And then when the sheriff lets us know that, because the sheriff is saying that it was probably a dog, because if their sample comes back as a dog and our sample comes back as a human, we know that they're full of shit and they're all in on it." So, and that's how that scene basically ends. And then they drive off and go to the next town, or they go to an RV park.
Yeah. And because this whole trip is planned out, they're going to Aspen to ski.
Right.
But Peter, they get a lot of use out of those ski poles through the course of this film.
They sure do.
They come up a lot.
I am tired of these motherfucking snakes in this motherfucking RV.
So when they made that decision just to go to Amarillo and keep going and do that, the party as a whole, the 2 couples, were mixed on whether it was really a witchcraft thing or maybe, you're being paranoid. So they were all they were like on the fence. Peter was like the real big holdout. So that stops when all of a sudden they're attacked repeatedly everywhere they stop.
Exactly.
Throughout the rest of this movie.
And then Peter's wife, she's starting to become really paranoid. Like they go to the local pool at the RV, and it's like there's all different men gawking at her. Just staring at her. Well,
and here's the problem too, is because a lot of these guys, a lot of these characters in this play, God damn it, a lot of these characters pop up repeatedly throughout the film.
Right.
So because ostensibly what the idea is that they're traveling to each place ahead of them and taking up shop, but so they're taking different roles in each town that these people come to. I'm only explaining that now because at the time of this pool scene you described, we haven't really experienced that yet, so we don't know that's the fact. So what it is Peter Fonda's wife. I forget the actress's name because she was like the only one I didn't recognize.
It's is it Laura Parker? think it's Laura Parker.
Yeah, it would be whoever's not those three. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Laura Parker.
Yeah, I just didn't recognize her from anything, so I just keep blanking on that. But she's in the pool and she's looking at people around the pool. And it's like they're staring at her, and then she's making eye contact. And Holly and I actually had a brief discussion on whether this was real or not. I was like, you know what? The film's not really giving me enough information yet. I don't know if she's imagining this. So, but I don't know if that's intentional.
Right.
If it was intentional, kudos to the screenwriter. But if it's not intentional, I what can I say? It still works a little bit on that level.
Well, sure. I mean, and then there's a couple that come by because they say they're in the next RV over, and they bring margaritas, and they take them out to dinner. And when they're at like this Texas Roadhouse for dinner, the one guy in the band is making the same kind of eye contact, and they show that in the film too, where she's just seeing a couple of people looking at her at this place as well.
And the problem too is once you realize when that sheriff is like, oh, this is one of those fucking films.
Yeah.
The problem is now everyone they encounter is gonna be a witch and a Satanist or whatever. It's just we just know now. And the film's an hour and a half long. They're not gonna wait.
No.
You know we're already into the movie. So like when the minute the neighbors barge in at the RV park, they're like Holly and I are like immediately we're like vocal about that. What the fuck are you doing in my RV? We were offended by it.
Get the fuck exactly.
Yeah.
And they didn't offer him any of that picture of whatever they brought in either.
They're just carrying around a picture or something. I don't know what the hell. But like it's like all right, I know, we know, and now you're just wasting my time because we know.
We know.
And then what they start doing too, and they do this all the way back at that first garage they see after they leave the sheriff recommends a garage, and like idiots they go to that garage.
Of course.
They'll do things where they'll focus on either like a side character or just like somewhere, and you'll overhear the dialogue.
Right. And the person is listening in on their conversation.
So they're hinting you right away of like that Warren needs to shut his fucking mouth. First of all,
he keeps talking.
Yeah, just Warren. You want to just give him your keys? What the fuck are you doing? But on that level, it's decent how they do that. That's how they clue you into the idea if you're not already in tune with the whole concept. It's like, wait a minute, yeah. So
I can't imagine that if you're watching this film and you're not getting all these little tidbits, if you don't understand, then you're just not experienced in enough film.
Well, I'll say that, yeah, but I also wouldn't hold anybody against it.
No. I wasn't going to insult anyone. It's just like you haven't watched enough film. You haven't.
No, that's my job. That's my part of the show. I'll insult somebody.
Okay.
But I forget my point was going to be about that.
Well, you were talking about how everyone was listening into their conversations.
Oh yeah, but you were sidetracking it. But we're back on point now.
Yes.
So it's just that also too is a clue. They're saying that everybody's in on it, and so every time these guys open their mouths when they're talking, people are overhearing what they're going to do. So Warren Oates is telling everybody, "Oh, we're heading to Amarillo." Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, we're just heading straight to Amarillo. Yeah, we got stuff we have to take care of there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then they ask for directions. It's like, that way.
Right, so like Peter Fonda's smart enough to not tell the cop to his face that, this is you're full of shit. Something's going on here.
Right.
He's like, yeah, let's go to Amarillo. And he doesn't convey to Warren that the smart part of that was not letting them know that there was a concern.
Right.
And I even like how they do that juxtaposition when they first meet those neighbors, and they're like, what happened to your windows? And, kids or something. We don't know. And then it's like, all right, we know a steakhouse to go to. And he cut to it, and Warren's like, and the guy's like, witchcraft? Witches? What's going on? Warren's like, that's what they said.
You gotta be kidding me.
What else could it be? It's like, Warren, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, shut the fuck up, man. It's like you've had one too many fucking beers. You need to cut it out. And then he actually starts having a good time, so he kind of loosens up.
Yeah, Warren loosens up way too easily. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And of course, a brawl breaks out, and of course they try and with the couple that are there, they're like, "Oh, it's first one of the night," and they're enjoying it. So they kind of, as a viewer, they try and get you off the idea that they might be in on it.
No, but you know.
No, of course you know.
So they split up with them to go back to the RV place, and they find the dog. They had a dog. It's dead now.
Oh yeah, they had a dog. It was I just get flashbacks from the film 187. Sam Jackson.
I'm trying to think of the scene you're talking about.
Well, that was you remember the movie, right? Sam Jackson is a teacher.
Oh, 187. For some
yeah,
reason,
187.
Now makes sense. You said 187 and Samuel L. Jackson, and my brain went, what was that? Room 708?
Oh, yeah, 1407, I think.
It equals 13, whatever it is.
Yeah.
1408. I think it's 1408.
1408.
And my brain immediately went there, and I'm like, there's no dead dog in that movie. So thank you for putting me straight on that.
Fucking Indians.
Now,
I think that's my favorite scene in the movie.
Now at this point,
187, of course.
What'd you say again? Fucking.
There's the one scene where the guy, he's like, he gets shot with an arrow, and he just looks at the arrow in his chest, and he goes, "Fucking Indians." And then he like falls down on the ground.
In keeping with our review, that immediately reminded me of the Blair Witch sequel.
Oh God! Remember we watched that twice.
I remember we watched that twice. Yeah. I still remember that. Mm-hmm.
We got suckered into watching that twice.
Yeah, we did. We were idiots. We were. It's our fault.
Yeah.
But when they found the found footage at the end, the husband's line at the end when they kill his wife, the fucking witch. It reminded me of that. It happened so late in the film that you couldn't even give them credit for it. It's like, no, you've already caused too much damage.
Ruined
We're not
it.
Friends.
No, can't be friends.
Your sudden attempt to outreach to me, denied.
Here's an olive branch. Fuck your olive branch.
Yeah, thank you. That's exactly what I should have said. Fuck your olive branch.
Anyway,
so
yeah, but he can't shut
the dog.
Yeah, he can't shut the fuck up, and they find the dog dead hanging from the RV door.
So at this point, they're convinced. This is
what
yeah. Convinces them.
Well, because what ends up happening is it's pried open with a pry bar or a chisel. He says a chisel, and there's a whole crowd forming, and he's like, no one saw anything, no one heard anything. It's like, listen, it's a chisel. You're gonna hear something.
And the entire
you're
crowd
gonna see something
standing around him is old people, and they're all silent and they're emotionless. And so it's like, all right, so all the old RVers are obviously Satanists. They might be involved with the whole thing, but they're obviously in on it. So the whole RV camp's in on it now. That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Totally believable. Moving on. Warren, one of his few saving graces in the film, decides, all right, I'm just getting the fuck out of here, and just starts heading towards people. He's like, I'm not stopping. No, we're done. We're moving.
Yeah, we're out of here.
Yeah. So immediately he snapped immediately to everybody's in on it, just aiming for people. So the rest of the film, because I don't want to go into too much detail of the rest of the film, but the whole thing becomes okay, we're at a new place. Are these people Satanists? And the answer is always yes.
Yes. Well, here's a perfect example. When they're driving down the road and they see a school bus accident. Now, you, the viewer, don't know this until he says it, but he's like, wait a minute. School bus on a Sunday? I'm not buying this. And then he kind of barrels through, and he's right. They all start coming after him after that.
Right. See, and so I don't want to say that the characters in this film get sloppy. Usually, I mean, as far as these Satan worshipping plan thing goes, these are some of the smarter characters I've seen in films like these.
Okay.
So I want to give them credit for that, but, I mean, it just happens town after town, and I'm telling you, I moved to Texas just like 3 and change years ago, and actually no, it's more like 3 or 4 years exactly.
Well, the year you were married, you moved to Texas.
No.
Wasn't it? Didn't you move the same year?
Following year.
So it was the following, April?
I got the job before the wedding, but then the move to Texas was the following year.
Oh, okay. So whatever year you got married, add one.
So this is like our 3rd or 4th year down here. I have no sense of time anymore. I don't even give a shit.
So you moved there in 2018?
I believe that's correct.
Oh, so it's exactly 3 years. 3 years and 1 month.
Feels like 4, but yeah.
Feels like 4.
feels like 10. Fuck me.
Yeah.
But I as many problems as I've had in Texas lately with COVID and everything else and the Republicans, whatever, and we're not getting political, but I haven't bumped into a Satanist yet.
No, I think you'd be hard pressed.
And I'm pretty paranoid myself. But not to that extent.
Right.
So, but they keep going town after town, and it's the same people most of the time. But there's so many people involved. There's no fucking way. Like if Satanists were this entrenched, they wouldn't be having this stuff happening at night, and they wouldn't be doing it on fucking like the middle, like on public land.
Yeah, no, they would be a lot smarter about
it. If you guys run like this entire fucking area like you apparently do, I'm sure one of you Satanists has fucking ranch land.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, in Texas alone, I mean, the average person in those general areas probably has acres of land.
I'm not one of them, but there's tons of acres of land.
No, I'm talking about the more rural areas.
I mean, the one thing we see when we drive from Dallas to Amarillo and then from Amarillo to Colorado is you see just vast tracts of land, and it's all cattle ranch or it's all farms.
Right.
There's so much open area for you to have a sacrifice without doing it somewhere that someone could stumble upon you.
Right. I mean, all they did was they went down an actual road, and they didn't have to go to an RV park or anything. They just went down an actual side road. But it's like it's a road that people can drive, you know. And it wasn't that far off the highway. So what the fuck?
Now, by the time we get to the big RV fight sequence,
right?
We're like 3 or 4. This is after the bus thing, I believe. And so there's like 3 or 4 vehicles that we've seen repeatedly throughout the film, all converge upon this bus to try to, this RV to try to, get them off the road and kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Because now's not the time for subtlety. But again, I don't want to get too into that.
Don't get into it. It's okay.
But this is where this scene, I don't know if you have any comments on this scene, but this scene is where, and this is before or after the snakes?
The school bus thing?
Yeah.
It's after.
That's after the snakes, so we skipped the snakes. Yeah,
I kind of briefly mentioned the snakes, but yeah, and it's the second time that they have snakes put in the RV. Like, they got a thing for fucking snakes. Didn't they have one snake earlier in the movie, or am I thinking wrong?
I think it was just outdoors. No, they just put 2 snakes in the RV. Let's not...
Oh, okay.
Let's not throw false charges against the Satan worshippers. Oh. I don't want to be unfair.
Never want to be unfair.
So...
Yeah, but they put 2 rattlesnakes in there, and they're fighting them out.
That was the rattlesnake sequence is the first sequence where I start getting crossed with Warren. Because I'm like, I just can't understand why Warren keeps hesitating beating this one snake with the ski.
Right.
And meanwhile, Holly's next to me repeatedly yelling at Warren, open the door, open the door, open the door.
I thought the same thing. I was like, why isn't the door open, and just trying to swipe this snake out?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Peter suddenly decides, I'm a snake charmer. I'm going to grab this motherfucker. I'm like, Peter, no, don't do it. What is it? The scene takes way too long. They really drag it out.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more suspenseful than watching Peter Fonda stare at a snake repeatedly for like a minute and a half.
But oddly enough, that's the scene that's in the slideshow right now, is his face in the opposite direction of what he's looking at, which is the snake.
And so it's after the snakes that they buy the shotgun.
Right. Which is interesting. I'm assuming that $219 is what a shotgun cost in 1975. But in this day and age where everything is made so cheaply, I thought that was kind of expensive. I was kind of expecting that to be a little less.
Forget that. But if everybody's in on the Satan thing, why are they letting this guy sell him a shotgun?
Right, exactly.
Right. Oh, and by the way, at this point, the Satanists have not resorted to guns yet. Not until the RV chase sequence do they actually start shooting.
Right. And even during that
that would be so gauche.
Well, even during that sequence, Warren is he's shooting at them, but he's shooting at the body of the vehicle. It's like, why aren't you taking out the tires?
this is the second time I became irritated with Warren. Says, what, Warren? What? Because half the time I'm like, Warren, shoot, just shoot, just aim out the. Why are you waiting? Shoot! You got a whole box of. Why are you waiting to shoot? Peter's doing all the fucking work. He's ramming cars. He's trying to flip things. And Warren's just bouncing back and forth. I can't control myself like the women. No, Warren, fucking shoot. And then when he does shoot, it's like, all right, what were you aiming for that you hit the side of that truck? This is a box truck we're talking about.
It's huge box truck. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it takes him four shots to hit something besides the side of this fucking box truck.
And again, I just don't know why he's not taking out tires.
I don't know why he's not taking out anything except the side of this fucking truck.
Yeah.
And so Peter ends up doing most of the damage by running cars off the road. And they don't really cover it too much, but I'm pretty sure that look in his eyes was bloodlust when he finally puts that red truck over.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I was like, Peter tasted blood. He's in.
Oh, yeah. Well, she killed a guy, too. Because at one point, they switch to drive.
Oh, yeah.
And Peter, he's got the shotgun, and Warren, the guy's trying to get in from the back. They take out.
That's the second. There's a second chase sequence that happens after. That's the first one after the bus crash we're talking about. When Peter takes the gun and starts taking down people, that's the second chase. Again, this is because satanic plots are so fucking complicated that this is after there's a water main burst that's causing a delay that somehow they orchestrated.
Yeah, right.
They get turned off, and that's the part where Peter just says, "Fuck it, I'm climbing on the roof."
Right, and Warren is like, "Don't climb on the roof. Stay in the car. Stay in the RV."
Why is he going out on the roof? Shoot through the roof. I was like, Peter's ready to climb on the roof.
Yeah.
He was waiting to climb on the roof. It's not like he has to at this point.
Right before he gets on the roof, Warren just looks at him, "Do it." And then he just shoots a guy right in the chest. And he kind of looks like, "I really didn't want to do that. You forced my hand." And then he was kind of like, "Yeah, but I felt so good."
No. Yeah. It's like because it didn't have the cars separating, there's that moment where it's like, but it's not the same. It's like, no, it's the same. Yeah. Taking all you motherfuckers out.
That's right. Taking you down. I'm actually looking at the poster, right? And it shows Warren Oates and Peter Fonda on the cover of the poster, both holding shotguns. Kind of makes you think that they're both going to have shotguns in the movie, but it's the same shotgun, just different parts of the film.
I have a feeling that they both could have had shotguns and it would have been the same body count. Warren would just be taking out more fucking...
Yeah, probably.
But then later, I should have taken a note. Warren did something later, and it was like, Jesus Christ. So you can't hit it's like you're doing the opposite of what you should be doing for aiming. It's like you're aiming at the side of a truck when you shouldn't even be aiming at it. It was like, it was the car when he hits the tree with the car.
Oh, right.
With the RV. The night when the snakes popped out, earlier the snakes, he goes, he's in the driver's seat. Everybody's behind him. All he has to do is fucking stop the vehicle. Can't bother doing that.
No.
And he crashes the RV into a tree. And so I was like, all right, so in the middle of nowhere, you find the one tree and you can hit it. But then when you got a truck right in front of you, you can't even hit that.
Right.
What's going on with you?
Did they say how much he paid for the RV earlier in the film? I think they did, right?
I think he did, but I didn't pay attention to that.
I want to say, if I remember correctly, the RV was in the range of $50,000 or something like that. Which for 1975, I mean, houses in 1975 didn't cost $50,000. My parents bought not our first house, but the house I grew up in Belleville, before I moved to the house in Bluefield. They bought that house for, I think, $30,000 in 1981. A whole 6 years after this movie.
Not focusing.
Yeah.
Focus.
Hey, Ran. I don't understand what's going on.
That was creepy. Stop.
Warren, he pissed you off. Drives into a tree.
Damn it! I had a point, but you kept going.
Sorry.
No, I'm not angry. I'm just.
You were talking about how he drove into a tree.
Right. But then you mentioned I had a whole sidetrack going and I lost it. I'm sorry. But Yeah, fuck Warren. What the fuck are you doing?
What the fuck? So after that car chase, they're still, they get away from them. I mean, this is like literally 10 minutes and the movie's over at this point.
After the second like Mad Max vehicle fight chase sequence,
right?
They're like, okay, let's just keep driving to Amarillo, but their headlights are out, so like, oh, should we risk driving it? And this is where they make the most bizarre decision ever. This is where the whole satanic plot thing. This is the straw that breaks the case.
Yeah, it completely falls apart.
Camel's for this film. Well, here, and I don't want to reveal what happens at the end yet until I go through this real quick.
All right, let's hear it.
Because again, this is what I have to do with every one of these Satan worshiper secret plan movies. I have to explain how fucking stupid it is right from the get go, and this is obvious too, and you know it. But so just from the fact, we already discussed the fact that they should be having this on private land because they own so much of everything apparently. I mean, it's shitty, but they still own land. You can find a place to do this where there's not going to be an accidental viewer.
Right. So
I don't know why no one. It's Texas, so I'm not understanding why nobody has a gun, Satanist or not. You can, I'm pretty sure the odds are someone would have a gun.
Absolutely.
Satanist or not, Texas or not, either way.
I mean, they went and bought that shotgun and zero paperwork.
No, it's just if it's that easy, how come so? And the reason they don't have guns makes no sense. But they actually get away in the RV and they get to the sheriff's department. Okay, so now everything's kind of playing fine. So we have to understand now is that the sheriff's in on the plot. So the sheriff separates. Well, first of all, the sheriff has them there at the station, and since he's in on it, I would assume the deputy's in on it. So, but maybe there are too many people around; they can't do anything. Obviously, that's why they asked them to come back to the crime scene. But they have to split up. So it has the two men out there. Now, why don't they just fucking kill them out there?
Right.
And just pretend they never happened. Oh, with the women are back in the RV. That's right. I remember the men leaving after, like, they're concerned about a serious attack against them, and they tell the women, lock up until we get back. I'm in a fucking RV with no front windshield. What are you talking about, lock up?
Yeah. And they ended up leaving anyway.
And how come there's not a gun in this goddamn RV? It's got a microwave oven, for God's sake.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, two women at the RV. Oh, you know what? Bring it to the garage now. We'll take care of it. Bam. They're gone. The guys are gone. Done. I don't know why that couldn't happen. Maybe they were unsure, which is why they left the notes. Because somebody said, "Hey, let's not kill them yet. We may be okay on this. Let's be good Christians." They were not. Oh, well, let's just follow me on this. We're going to leave a note, a cryptic note saying that Payne, instead of just coming out and saying, "Don't tell anybody, we'll leave you alone." We have to be cryptic about it, and there's a rune, so they have to go to the library and do research, and it's a whole thing. And we'll make it very complicated for that, and that will scare them away. All right, let's go with Steve's plan.
Yeah,
all right.
Let's do that.
Sure, why not? Let's see what happens. Doesn't happen. All right, moving on. They go to an RV park. They know they're there. There's tons of those people there. They're at the pool staring at them. So they all, let's go out for a drink. All right, great. So while they're gone to the steakhouse, we murder the dog. And then we put snakes in there. So the dog's a warning. But we're going to put snakes in there anyway, so it's not really a warning. It's an attack.
Right.
And then when they come back, they'll be shocked. All right, Steve, that's good. But, they're in the RV park. We pretty much run the RV park at this point because we can break into an RV and kill a dog and nobody notices or says anything.
Right.
So why don't we just wait till they come back and kill them? We can disappear the RV.
We're going to make it look like an accident that snakes got in there and killed them all.
Not even an accident. They left. We kill them, drive the RV off. It's a big fucking desert.
Yeah.
And we own a lot of land too. Let's just there, it's already done. No, let's be clever about this. Let's go Steve's way. So they escape, and then this happens again. After the RV park, and then they pull over for the night. Then they go to the next town, and that place is run. That's where they buy the shotgun and everything, and like, oh, this town's in on it too. The phones don't work. Oh, these guys are all Satanists. It's okay, so it's the whole town Satanist. Can we just kill them right here? I've got one back here. Let's just kill them, and they keep coming. No, we're gonna let them keep going. We'll keep hopscotching, and this goes on and fucking on, and there's no sense to it. So if we're going to follow the logic, this is all well planned out by these cultists because they're so smart. They just know what's going to happen based on how they're doing it. If we go through all of this, and these guys are driving through towns where they have access to like people on the water department that they can shut down a fucking road, and just all this stuff. They have all this power, so they decide, no, we're going to let them go. We're going to scare the fuck out of them. We're going to keep attacking them and keep attacking them. And what if they don't stop? So let's just keep attacking them to the point where they're just too fucking scared to stop. What do we do now? So what do we do then? Oh, then they'll stop. What? No. Yeah, because at some point, Steve knows what he's talking about. At some point, these people who have been harangued by cultists constantly, and they're just everywhere they stop, they're all there. And they drive away, and it's almost dark, and they're almost at Amarillo. What they're going to do is at the last minute decide it's too dangerous to drive without headlights. And they're going to pull off on a random road and decide right there that they're safe, and they're going to start drinking heavily.
That's right. So, I'm going to make the driest martinis I've ever made in my life.
So Steve has it so nailed down that we can put gasoline out there in a circle around where they're going to park the fucking RV. I shit you not.
Yeah, I thought that was
be
funny too, because it's like they weren't there very long, and somebody made a perfect. That wasn't a circle, but it was like a big square around the RV.
Oblong, yeah. They didn't make an exact square. Steve's not a fucking geometrist.
Nope.
For geometry, right? Yeah.
It's geometry, yeah.
Yeah.
Shapes.
Yeah, that's not Steve's game. He plans the fucking things, but he doesn't. Don't tell him to draw a square.
Steve, he wrangles the snakes. He's good at that.
Yeah. So that's the small suspension of disbelief you need in order to go into this film and think that it makes any sense whatsoever. And it's the same thing with every goddamn Satan film you make me watch. Every Satan worshiper film you make me watch.
Did I challenge you to Rosemary's Baby? Was that me to you?
No, I think I challenged you to it because of my hatred for it.
Oh, okay.
Did you challenge? No, and you know what? I challenged you to. I think I've been challenging to you out of spite, because I'm also the one that challenged to you the.
I didn't know this was
High West one.
You challenged that to me. You challenged that one to me.
Yeah, that motherfucking.
I mean, you challenged that one to me. I think you challenged.
I'm a masochist, and I'm trying to show a little love by making you suffer through it.
Okay.
Yeah, but this one.
I think you challenged Rosemary's Baby to me. I think you did.
Oh shit!
What?
I'm supposed to have a challenge for you today, aren't I?
Yes, you are.
It's gonna be. I've looked at this before, so it'll be quick. I just realized that. Damn it! And I'm honest about it. But but that's the whole film. I mean, now here's the sad part.
So I'm assuming, because you're going to look at this and you haven't had any like any real time to make a decision. We're staying in 1975.
I'm going to take a quick glance because I know what I've already challenged you, and I know what I think's worthy. So I'm going to refresh my memory, and we can even debate it. We've been in 1975 so long, we could even debate it.
We could.
But while I was watching this film, I was really convinced that the film was going to end with like a happy ending. Like a survivor ending. And so I had already composed a 6-word description of the film before even watching it, or actually in the end of the first act. I was like, all right, 6 words to describe this film: Hills Have Eyes goes well, or Hills Have Eyes happy ending. Because it's got all the same things with Hills Have Eyes, except instead of a ludicrous idea, it's the cannibals.
Right.
Cannibals make 100% nuclear wasteland cannibals make 100% more sense than fucking satanic shenanigans.
Hillbillies.
Done. Not happening. But so I did compose about an hour ago
a haiku
describing this film, and here it is. It's only an hour old, so it could use some revision. Sky trip to Aspen. Sky. I'm a fucking idiot. I'm gonna stop right here. All right. Let me start again. Ski. See, that's where I am. So now the giggles are done. Ski trip to Aspen goes wrong. Stupid Satanists. They won't reach Amarillo. Because in the third act, I just kept repeating that to myself. They're not going to reach Amarillo.
Not going to happen.
Nope.
No.
Yeah. But by the third act, that last scene where they're like, "Oh, should we pull over?" I'm like, "Oh fuck, this is going to be a bad ending." Damn it. Oh
Yeah,
shit.
because it was starting to get dark too, and they were just going to camp for the night.
You know, I wouldn't be so mad at the movie if the Satanists didn't win with this ludicrous plot they were using.
Right.
You know, and so here's why I don't blame the characters for making the stupid decision at the end, because the Satanists didn't scare them to death. The Satanists just exhausted them. And I think everybody that has lived through 2020 into 21 right now knows what exhaustion feels like.
Yes, of
just
course.
Being hounded constantly. At that point, it wasn't like, you know, I think they knew that was the end. I mean, they acted surprised, but it's like, should we keep going to Amarillo? You think we can make it? It says, you know what? Maybe we should just pull off and have a drink. That's suicide talk.
Yeah. It's like, you don't stop moving.
Yeah. That's the, you go on ahead of me. I'm just going to sit a while. Keep myself warm with this grenade. Like, you know, it's like exactly what that kind of, if they, instead of them all being shocked and surprised at the end, they should all been like, who first with the shotgun? You know, it's just,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Did I trail there? Or?
A little, just a hair.
I'm sorry.
All right. So you're going to look for a challenge for me, right?
Oh yeah, sure. I'll get right on that.
Let me do the Let me do the demographics while you do that.
Okay.
All right. So you look, and I'll talk about the demographics. Currently, the film is rated a 6.7 on IMDb, which I got to be honest, it's kind of high. It really is. I mean, that's a little too close to a 7 for me.
Quick flashback.
Let's be honest here. We just had a film win Best Picture that it is at best a 7. At best a 7, and this film is a 6.7.
All right, I'm gonna make a cut. We need a cut of the play whenever this comes up, because the minute you said like that number, and I knew you were gonna say that's really high. I just flashed to used cars.
Oh,
that's too fucking high.
I'm gonna work on that, and you won't be able to hear it, but I'll be able to play it with the digital soundboard that I have. At least it'll be in the show. I am gonna try and fix sound so that you can hear stuff.
What's his name? I don't want to demean him and just say the black guy, but I can't remember his name. But the guy from Used Cars, he was in 1941 as well. He died today.
Did he really?
Yeah, I just saw it like an hour or two ago.
And this is sad that I even say this. Was it COVID related?
I didn't look. I don't think so, because it didn't say anything about it in the headline. I didn't read details. I just saw the headlines. Oh, that happened. What more information do I need? I don't know the guy.
Frank McRae.
Is that him? Is he alive? Is he dead, or am I totally confused? Or is it a different black guy?
Let me see. He died 6 days ago.
All right, maybe
he died a week ago. A week ago.
I just saw it late, so he didn't die today, but I saw it today.
77, right. Died on April 29th, 2021. He had a heart attack.
Okay, yeah, like in the sub line of the headlines that I saw, they rattled off a couple of films. He's known for this, this, and this. I'm like, no, Used Cars. Used Cars in 1941. That's it. Nothing else needs to be discussed.
No. I'm just looking at all these other actors. Like Jack Warden was in there. Born in Newark, New Jersey. 85. Where did he die? He died in California? Oh, he died in New York City. Wow. All right, so
demographics, yeah.
Yeah, demographics. It's 6.7. The large consensus for this film, 29.5% with 1,700 votes, was a 7. 436 votes actually voted a 10. 367 votes voted it a 9. Almost 1,000 votes voted it an 8. And 1,200 votes voted it a 6. Then there's 600 for a 5, and everything else is just like low. But as far as the demographics go, as far as males, one male gave it an 8. One.
That guy.
Yeah. 181. That's the under 18. The 18 to 29, 181 gave it a 6.8. 30 to 44 age group, 1800, a 6.6. And the 45 and up gave it an average score of 6.7. Females, average score is a 6.6. One female under 18 gave it a 4.
No female under 18 should be watching this film. No female over 18 should be watching this film.
Yeah, right. The 18
unless they're really into Warren Oates.
Hey now.
They could find other films.
Yeah, they could totally do that. 18 to 29, 33 females, average score 6.3. 30 to 44, 189 votes, came in at 6.4. And the 45 and up age group, 6.8 females. This film is mostly scored on and reviewed by men. The majority of, let's put it this way, only 476 votes came from women. That's it.
There aren't enough positives in this film for me to recommend it. But I would put it at a 6 over a 5 just because it does exceed some of the more annoying tropes of the witchcraft film.
It is. 5 is too low. It's above average. It is better than a 5, but
it exceeds at some points. Yeah.
It is in no way it should be this close to a 7.
You know, the minute Peter Fonda got in that RV and said, "No, the sheriff's in on it," that was immediately 1 star higher. Thank you for that little thing.
To be honest, this film should probably be somewhere around a 5.7, not a 6.7, and we would be giving it a 6, and we would be saying the same thing. It's better than a 5.
In a perfect world, yes, but where is that, Joey? I would like to trigger parliamentary procedure. I'm adding a new depth feature to our challenge routine.
Oh, okay.
All right, we've been in 1975 a while.
Yes.
On my Plex alone, this is what I'm picking from because I'm picking stuff I think is worthy, so means I have it.
Sure.
I have 75 films.
From 1975.
Right. As we get further, it's going to expand. We're going to have more films in certain years.
Sure.
What I'd like to do now is just kind of go through top choice ideas. I don't want to spend too long on certain genres. Like we're not going to do unless we decide to do a whole series, but even then it wouldn't be the same year. So I want to try to avoid repeating ourselves by doing the same thing. I want to try to touch on every aspect of that year.
Okay.
But if there's nothing else new to bring to that year, maybe we should move on. So we might be moving on to 76.
Okay.
So are there any films that we have not reviewed for 1975 yet that you think are big contenders for being reviewed?
Without looking, I don't know.
Okay. I'm going to throw some names out.
Throw some names out at me. I mean, is Day of the Dolphin 75?
No. Day of the Dolphin is not 75.
Is it 3? What's the other one? What's the other one? 3 Days of the Condor, or is the?
I believe that one is. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
let me go down my list.
We might want to consider that one.
Well, I just all right. Let me say one thing right now. I think we're okay with exploitation cinema, right?
Yes.
We covered exploitation cinema.
Yeah. I mean, yes, absolutely. As long as your challenge was released theatrically, it meets the main criteria for being a challenge.
No. What I'm just saying is I don't want to spend too much time.
I know exactly what you're saying, but it still has to have a theatrical release.
Yes, obviously. So we're okay on exploitation cinema. We covered a couple of big ones. We had Ilza.
Right.
I think we're done with that.
I think so.
In the science fiction realm, we've already done A Boy and His Dog.
Yep.
I'm not sure if there's too much out sci-fi in 75 that we would want to touch on. We did Night of the Seagulls. We got a horror in there. We always cover horror well. We don't Rollerball. We did Rollerball.
We did Rollerball.
Super Vixens. We've really played that out.
I think Rollerball was the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then we went on a really long hiatus.
Yeah. It was. Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah.
So let me say, there's other stuff we could do. But I personally think we've sampled enough. Unless we want to... Do we do a Disney film?
What, like the Apple Dumpling Gang?
I was thinking more like the strongest man in the world with Kurt Russell.
No.
Now let me say this: like if you asked me, what about Return of the Pink Panther? I'd be like, no.
No, I don't want to.
I don't really think.
I don't want to review that.
Yeah, exactly. So there's stuff here that I just don't think we could do well with, like Jaws. We could do Jaws, but I don't even add to that.
No,
everybody knows that.
The only reason we even consider doing Jaws is because it's a classic.
Right. I mean, and
I love the film. I mean, like it's never fun when you review films you love.
Yeah, like we could do Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Or we could just spend an hour and a half quoting from the movie.
Right. It's just a flesh wound.
It's all it's going to be. The great films have been touched on so many times that it's really hard to find anything new in there.
Right.
So I really feel like we might be passing on to the new year unless you have any final objections.
I don't.
I'm double checking now for anything I can think of that we might say, oh, we should have done that. But I mean, Supercock, I'm not excited. Again, Love and Death, I love the film, but it's really not the kind of thing we review.
No. I mean, I've looked at 1975. I looked at a lot of it. I wrote down a few films that I think we should review, and we actually did. So,
like French Connection.
No need to do that one.
And it's part 2, by the way. It's French Connection 2.
Right.
Definitely not. Escape the Witch Mountain. I don't know if I'm feeling it. Doing it. It would be interesting because I only saw that as a kid. I never saw it as a.
I've never actually seen it. I've never really cared to see it.
Really?
Yeah. Oh,
Have we done a Disney film this year?
Was.
I don't think we did.
Was the. Crap. The one with Jan Michael Vincent. The
World's Greatest Athlete.
Was that a Disney movie? And was that in 2021? Or was that in 2020?
Well, it's not in 1975. I'm saying Disney. 1975. Did we do one?
No, we haven't. We haven't done a Disney film. Oh. All
right, I've got 2 potential. I'm looking over everything. All right, here.
I'll tell you what. If you want, because it's my birth year, you can challenge me to Escape from Witch Mountain or whatever Disney film, and I will push us into 76 for my birth year.
The only other thing I was looking at, there's also Shivers, which is kind of a horror classic. That's the only other thing I'm considering. But what we'll do, I think I'm thinking Disney.
Okay.
And I'm thinking Escape the Witch Mountain.
Okay.
And you know what? There's a remake to that too. So
the one with the Rock.
Yeah. So bonus, and I haven't seen that either.
That's the one that they have a meme.
Yeah, I've seen the meme. Yeah.
It's like one of the most popular ones too.
But it does be interesting because I remember watching it as a kid. I remember my favorite scenes, and I have not seen it since. Period. I like that kind of thing. And if we are able to, we should try to watch the sequel just to mention it. I mean the remake, not the sequel. There is a sequel. But
I'll do my best. Maybe I can get that watched because of my kids. Maybe I can watch it with them.
Assignment. Doesn't have to be done, but
all right.
Extra credit. That's all it is. But I mean, at this point, there's one or two other things I would like to do, but when it comes your turn, if you decide to go to 76, I would be amicable.
I will research it, and if I feel we'll go to 1976, I'll do that next week.
All right.
All right, let's go ahead and end this thing. I'm tired. Oh my God, yes. That's awesome.
I killed a small Asian child, and I am now playing with its toys.
You know, they never released, or Quentin Tarantino never released Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair.
Nope.
Now, I have a fan edit called Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair. And it's like 4 hours long. It's both films cut together. And, you know, because Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4, you know, it's like all the acts are sewn together. So it's actually, the fan ed is actually done very well. I put it on my Plex, and it's in HD. It looks great, but I want Tarantino to do it. It's like, come on, man. How long do you need? The film came out 16 years ago, 17 years ago.
I don't care what he does at this point. I'm okay with that.
I want his cut. He's been
some more.
He's been touting
on
it.
my Plex, I have a whole channel of just fan edits.
Oh, okay. Oh, and I know I'm supposed to be ending the show, but did you ever get the fan edit of The Things?
Which one?
The Things, where they take the
yeah,
thing and
the sound picking up.
All right. Anyway, Moviesucktastic.com. Go to our website. You can go to iTunes and listen to the show there. You can also go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Moviesucktastic. You can leave us email, themovieguys@Moviesucktastic.com. You can leave us voicemail at 908-514-4470. And that's what I got. Do you have any words of wisdom, Mr. Wilson?
Oh, yeah. Don't drive to Amarillo.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. Bad idea. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Bye.